Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K Now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Gal.
Hey, everyone.
And Nick is here.
Hello.
And Spence is here.
Yes.
And is that it?
No.
Mike is here.
Got a very special guest this morning. Somebody who has a legend in the internet podcasting space, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mike Phillips.
ATR 2100.
Oh, Mike is there. Okay.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
Hey, Mike.
My power went off.
Oh.
That's because you didn't have your propane powered backup generator ready to go.
I did have it running.
Our number.
Anything, but it was running.
Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by VMix Software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear.
Well, happy Father's Day to all of the hosts on the show besides myself, thank God. So happy Father's Day.
Thank you very much. Happy Father's Day to you too, Nick. You see, you never know.
I know.
You never know.
When you least expect it.
Oh, Jesus.
So what's going on?
A whole
lot.
High tech took a week off.
No, it didn't.
Nothing happened. No, nothing happened. Everybody shut their computers off for an entire week. Nothing happened.
There were some things.
There was an ISP down here. I won't say their name, but an ISP down here that was hit with a very significant DDoS on Friday morning.
Ouch!
And it pulled a lot of the commercial radio stations off the air because they rely on their backhaul service for transport to and from towers and studios.
You have firsthand information about it?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't affected by it, but I have firsthand information.
What did they do? Did they just wait it out, or did they?
Yeah, they waited it out, and then there was also, in conjunction, a thunderstorm, pretty significant thunderstorm Thursday night. So they believe it was a combination of some damaged equipment and this DDoS that just all kind of showed its ugly head at the same time. So they had some physical equipment failures as well as being attacked. But that was resolved by middle of Friday, probably 11 o'clock in the morning.
Are they still in business?
Yeah. I mean, I assume so. I'd hope so.
Yeah, I mean, things like this happen. I mean, it's out of your control, kind of.
Wireless. They do wireless internet. It's pretty interesting.
They're feeding wireless?
Yeah, they feed it over point-to-point links.
Who's that ISP that came with 1 gigabit here, up here?
I think it's the same company that's in Raleigh.
Yeah. And they're saying that this is what Google is going to be doing eventually. They're not going to run
blimps. They're going to have aerial airships.
They actually are.
Yep, they're doing it in places now.
Yeah, over Africa, I believe, is where they've got those things in.
Cheapest way to bring broadband service to a remote area.
Yeah, and you don't need to worry about right of ways and all that kind of junk.
With that long cable, you have to run up to the blimp. That's a problem. Somebody
So
keeps cutting it.
But then you can charge, $5 a pop just to see it rise up and down, right? Like
Yeah.
the weekend with the hot air balloons. So
Yes.
just make it a weekly event.
anyhow,
I think kites are the answer.
all of our problems can be solved with kites.
Yes. Have giant kites. And then you have to have a cable attached so you can run the internet service up through the cable that's attached to it. And it just, if the wind stops, you're screwed. But what can I say?
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
okay. If you're on Comcast is saying, I mean, they've been throttling speeds to slow down heavy internet users since 2008, apparently. They had a change of heart. It says the Comcast has deactivated this congestion management system, according to an announcement this week. As reflected in a June 11th, 2018 update to our Xfinity Internet Broadband disclosures, the congestion management system that was initially deployed in 2008 has been deactivated. As our network technologies and usage of the network continues to evolve, we reserve the right to implement a new congestion management system if necessary in the performance of reasonable network management and in order to maintain a good broadband internet access service experience for our customers. It would provide updates here as well as other locations. A new system is if a new system is implemented. So apparently, a lot of people complain about that, and they did away with that for now. Uh, of course, they can say they did, even if they didn't. Who's to know? Relaxing it a little bit would make people feel like, oh, yeah, look.
Well, there are guys like Gall who can go online and tell you exactly what the problem is and where it is. So they can't just say they do it and not do it.
Right. Well,
Well, I mean, uh, I might be naive here, but isn't all the net neutrality talk with FCC and all of that is exactly about this type of traffic shaping?
no.
No?
No, it's a misnamed effort
No,
to
the
control the content by the opposing side.
net neutrality was to stop one customer like Netflix or not for the actual users. The users, if they're using more or they're using a lot of data, then they're not the only ones that were doing it. I mean, every company had that.
You're talking about data capping.
Yeah. Well, it's not capping. It's
Net
when they
neutrality was that a big company like Netflix couldn't pay a significant amount of money to Comcast to provide their service to the consumer at a higher throughput than Hulu or somebody, or maybe a smaller company that doesn't have the discretionary income to throw at an ISP. The end user really wasn't affected a whole lot. They were just paying for higher end. They're paying for quote unquote better internet. That's what the whole net
yeah, they
neutrality
will
concept is
see buffering. They will see, it'll just be kind of slow service. But when you have it from the day one, then that's what it is. But as far as the data capping that you're talking about for customers, like what today with AT&T, you have a data cap of 1 terabyte. But if you have that real high speed, you don't have it. But after that, they don't just stop it; they slow it down. They instead
Yeah,
of
what the cell companies are doing, right? Giving you,
yeah,
I don't
they're
know.
like the cell app exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what they stopped it. They called it congestion management. So if there are a million people online, and every one of them is just streaming high density. I mean, high definition TV and everything, and their network is under stress. They look at who is using the most. Now there may be a million people, but 10,000 of them are using it all the time. So they will slow them down in order to make the other ones have better service, so to speak. And, they do that. It's the interesting. You're talking about the cell companies. Um, 2 weeks ago, well, about a year ago, Hannah went somewhere. I can't remember where she went, and she was in a place where there was no Wi-Fi. Huh. And the Wi-Fi data was going down, 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 and I saw it, and I called Verizon, and they say, "Well, we'll give you one more gigabyte, I think, for $5 or something like that." I said, "Okay, add it. It's fine," and that took care of it. This time, like a few weeks ago, from from last evening to this morning, there was about 3 gigabytes being used. And turned out it was used by Kathy's phone.
Hmm.
And I was just getting emails say, "Oh, you have 20% left. Oh, you have 15, you have 10, you have 5." So I went in and I looked, and sure enough, yeah, it was Kathy. So I said, "Turn off your phone. I don't know what it is, but turn it off." So I called Verizon and I said, "Look, I'm getting tired of this, having to keep up with all this. When is our contract over? I'm going to switch to somebody that has unlimited." "Oh, wait, let's see what we can do for you," and blah blah. "You've been a customer for so long." End up, what they did is, she said, like I said, "We'll give you 8 more gigabytes, and it's free for a year. By then, we're going to have new plans that will have unlimited, so everything will be fine." I
Yeah.
mean, well, so far it's okay because we're not even touching that 8 gigabyte.
Hmm.
But it did not bring it up, and it's nice not to have to worry about it. And I told Hannah, I said, "Look, if you're holding back when you need to use your phone and you're not on Wi-Fi," because I asked her, I said, "Look, be conservative with your data. It can be expensive." So this is nice. I mean, it's nice that they did that. Um, if you're on Verizon, and it's really, you're always hitting almost the cap, call them and say, there are other companies that charge just as much as you, some of them less than what you do, and they have unlimited, and they'll probably do something for you. They all try to keep us. So I would think that you can do this. 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. Mike. Mike. Where's Mike?
Yes, Amnon.
Oh, last night over here, you was talking about the problem that you had with your cell phone,
Right.
and you couldn't, from our Wi-Fi, you couldn't get to PO box.
No, could not get to
Email,
Gmail.
email wise, yeah. But on 4G, it worked fine, and you said it's working okay from home, but you did mention that it happens from other places.
Periodically, sometimes in airports and
Yeah.
sometimes in other businesses.
So we talked about a little bit before the show, and Gal had a different look, a different outlook on this. Not ports. Gal, I'll let you take over.
Outlook's the best email client, though, so that'd solve all your problems. Sorry,
Go back to sleep, Nick.
I had to jump in on that. Sorry. I apologize. Sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, Gal.
So you're using Gmail?
Let me give you the whole scoop because my setup is unusual. I use a PObox.com email account, which is an alias. it has always forwarded to the local pop box. When I was with Time Warner, uh, using their email server, then the PO box email address would forward to my Roadrunner account. I
Right.
would pop the email out of the Roadrunner account, send it back through the Roadrunner SMTP server.
Right.
Because of the amount of spam, I had to get rid of that. So, and I wanted long-term storage of my email. Now that PO box alias forwards to a Gmail account, I have, this is the strange thing. I went through the phone app built into my iPhone and set it up such that I was IMAP with the Gmail server, but I set it up as an other, not using the Gmail app on the phone. When I did that, I had to change the SMTP server from the Gmail SMTP server to a different one that I use. Actually, it's the POBox.com SMTP server. The reason I do that is if I send, for example, if I send through the Gmail SMTP server, when an email is received by someone using Outlook, it will say email from,
Yeah.
or it'll say
On behalf
from
of.
On
On behalf
behalf
of.
of.
Yeah.
my email address in behalf of all
Yeah.
that crap, which I don't want and not going to have it.
Right.
I therefore change the IMAP setup to use a different SMTP server. That's what's different about my setup. The problem is that when sometimes I go to Wi-Fi restaurants are really bad, but I go to certain places that it'll say, sorry, can't get your email. Then when I get back home or when I get back onto cellular, I get an email that says, this Gmail email that says someone is trying to access your account and it was
Oh,
login was blocked.
that's an easy solution.
Tell us, Nick, you're keeping us in
So you've
suspense.
got to. So that's Gmail is just thinking somebody's trying to do a faulty log or a someone's trying to hack your email address. You can turn off that level of security inside of Gmail, but I don't know if I necessarily would.
I think I have,
Yeah, I don't
but
because I had I've had that issue before too, and I turned it off on one of my Gmail accounts, which for some reason I always have an issue with.
I have the radio station email account that worked fine,
That's on
which is
Office
the only
365.
but it worked fine over Amnon's Wi-Fi.
Yeah. I haven't had any problems with my Gmail on his Wi-Fi the couple of times that I've been there longer term.
So,
I did a
Gal,
little reading, and it looks like there could be a corrupt certificate that
Mm.
Gmail doesn't like, and supposedly there's a way of deleting the certificate and then logging in and having a new one download.
But it sounds like so the application you use on the phone, that's the Gmail app.
No, the iPhone mail app.
Oh, iPhone mail app. What could it be? And the iPhone mail app, you have the IMAP server configured to your PO box
No,
address.
Gmail.
oh, I thought you said you're using your own, Mike.
I'm using IMAP. The Apple app is set up for IMAP to connect to the Gmail account, but it sends through the PO Box SMTP
Yeah.
server.
So
Oh,
Gmail oh, okay. So you're saying SMTP is configured that way. Interesting.
So, Mike, am I correct in saying you could send an email, you just wouldn't be able to receive one?
I didn't try.
Because it sound because God, what he's getting that security pop up that
No,
his account's trying to
no,
be hacked.
no. That's when I get away from the server. When I'm there, all it does is nothing. It
Oh, of
says, sorry,
course.
can't get your email.
Yeah, they're blocking your quote unquote login attempt
Yeah.
because they think it's somebody trying to infiltrate your account. So, um,
Do you use two-factor authentication with Google?
No, no, no. Anybody who logs into my email would be bored stiff. And I don't put confidential information in emails.
Alan is saying I used to get Gmail off kicking in when I started using a VPN. Now you're
Yeah.
not using a VPN, right?
No, but it's a different channel to access Gmail that it may not like because it was like
Hmm.
you're saying. I mean, there's a possibility that it has something to do with Time Warner. And I'll tell you why I say I hadn't thought about this till I just thought about it now. I have this little small business that I help them with their computers. They use this same setup because they get so much spam. They had to use the Postini filters on Gmail. They're set up the same way where they are popping into the Gmail server and no, actually, yeah, that would be the same. They're popping into the Gmail server, sending through the Time Warner SMTP server. But what I had done is set up their email is hosted on the Time Warner business server. They're set up also as aliases. So you send an email to person at email address, it forwards to each one's individual Gmail account, just like it does on mine. And Time Warner will not forward to Gmail. I actually have them both. There are two of them. I have them set up so that when you send an email to their business account, it forwards to a an alias on my own server, which then forwards it to Gmail. So there might be an issue between Time Warner and Gmail. Shock,
Uh,
Mm.
shock, shock.
I mean, I use Time Warner at home and at work. I don't think I. You know, it would be a good test, Mike. This would be a good test. Try another mail client just for that email address and see if you have that same problem. Like, what do I use?
Well, I could do any
I would
G.
try that to start because it could be the way that Apple's mail is doing is doing a whole bunch of logins at the same time and it's flagging it as
Hey,
spam. I'm not really sure.
don't blame Apple. That is
I'm
so
sorry. You're
so
right. I
nonsense.
apologize.
You just distract us.
Yeah, the headphone jacks are useless. Don't no, you don't need
Of
one.
course, it never should have been there.
I agree. What the hell? Who needs audio? I mean, when you can look at it.
Audio is not important.
Yeah, I use uh I would test Mike a program called Edison Mail. It's called Email Edison Mail. I would just maybe try. And does it always happen at one specific place?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Do
yeah,
you go
I
to that place
mean,
often?
Amnon's house, it happens at multiple places.
Okay.
It's repeatable if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, I would try that then. I would disable it in Apple Mail, throw it in this and see if you can get it
Mike,
to.
you said something yesterday about this. Your configuration is that you use a specific port. Is it for receiving or sending?
Receiving.
Could it be that that port is blocked on those
We
connections?
tried to change.
We tried. The only port that I can see that Gmail supports for IMAP is 993.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the secure channel. That's okay. And that's standard. So, I mean, unless you have like a really restrictive firewall, then it would be open.
I
But
mean,
we looked, and this is the only port that is mentioned on Google for IMAP. It's not like there's okay now. If you have this, you can use that port also. That it's always
No.
993.
So that means
Yeah.
everybody would have that problem on those networks.
I'm not that worried about it. It's inconvenient, but it's certainly not a deal breaker. If I need to get my email, all I do is turn off Wi-Fi and everything works fine. I never use data. It's not a data problem, but it would
Yeah.
be nice to have it resolved.
It's definitely a security issue that they're for some reason because it's everybody's seen that page. It says, "Oh, was this you trying to log in, Cary, North Carolina?" It gives you your IP address and there's like two options in the email or something like that.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't. I mean, it shouldn't be doing that for a local address, local ISP.
This sort of piggybacks on another issue. This little business that I help with, that if I'm out of town, Spencer, I might need your help, but they they use an old version of Outlook. And from what I understand, Outlook does not work well with IMAP. I'm told that anything
Mm.
below 2013 and possibly 2016, you're on your own. It might work, it might not work. This is what I heard from Microsoft MVPs online a few years ago, a couple of years ago. I don't know if that's true, but they do use Outlook 2010. They're not planning to update anytime soon. I can tell you what I'm planning to do. If and when they update to a newer version, I just had another thought, but if and when they update to a newer version of Outlook, I'm going to have them get Gmail accounts on what is it called? Business apps. Is that
Google
what
Apps
it's
for
called?
Business. Yeah,
Yep. And just let them use it there because
I think. Yeah.
you just cannot beat Gmail's spam protection.
I would also I liked I enjoyed our time on Google Apps for Business, but man, I'm telling you, I've fallen in love with Office 365.
What? What? You
He's young,
hated
he's
it.
young and impressionable, Mike.
I know, but he hated it. I mean, he was having temper tantrums over it.
He's
Yeah, but
he's
see,
growing up though.
So there's a learning curve.
there is a learn, and that's I think what it is
Mm.
there's a lot of stuff that right off the Gmail makes everything incredible, and there's still some things I can't stand about 365. Case in point, you can't send from a damn alias. I mean, you've got to set up a faulty IMAP account and route it to some null for it to send from an alias. And in Google, it's just in there by default. It's stupid.
Mike, I did a search on Gmail IMAP issues, and there are people that are having problems specifically with their iPhone and Apple Mail on their MacBook, where IMAP just stops working for no reason.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's probably as simple, in my opinion, it's either as simple. I do think it's a security issue. Whether there was without getting too deep into this because it's really boring, but that at some point there was an issue that some ISPs were breaking up packets. Instead of it being set to 1500, it was set to 1492. That was causing the security certificate to be broken up into chunks that could not be properly reassembled on the other side, changing the MTU on the computer or the router. I forget even where the MTU was set, and the problem went away. To me, it's something as strange as that is probably what it is.
Is Gmail's IMAP support considered to be mainstream, or is it still considered to be best effort?
I don't know the answer to that, but I will tell you that the Gmail client built into Apple Mail, as far as I know, works flawlessly.
I would think that Gmail's IMAP is all that it should be because they're based on IMAP to begin with.
That doesn't mean that they're not going to throw something in there to make themselves proprietary.
But whether it's based on IMAP originally or not, their first recommended interface was their web-based interface. So,
Oh, that's right. Alan is saying something there. Try Outlook Express.
Negative.
AP does not approve.
Alan said, "Seems to me that Outlook Express isn't good."
I know.
oh, they're going to have a new update to Outlook Express.
When,
It's
2006 or
called Up
2007?
Yours.
It will be open source and it will have the GitHub logo.
Yeah, that's it.
I will tell you this. There is a big market for a good email client. I can't believe in 2018 we're sitting here. I mean, there's something seriously wrong with every one we've ever used, including Thunderbird. Thunderbird, I don't trust open source software for business critical applications. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know why, but web-based takes everything.
I'll give you a case in point. The Savage Pagan is saying Thunderbird, and I use Thunderbird. I have it. I like it a lot. It is a great program for many things. However, when I moved over from my XP machine a year or two ago to finally retire it onto this machine that I'm using now, I put Thunderbird on it. When I start it, it can take up to 10 minutes to update through all the email accounts. I've been through it. I've deleted. I've started over. I've reinstalled. There's nobody to call and get help with it. You go online and ask in their forum, and they give you some stupid answer about it. It's just.
Have you inoculated it for bird flu?
I did that. Yep.
EM client's still the best thing on the market, but that's far from perfect.
Oh, I thought you hated it.
I did.
No,
I did.
Oh, it was you, Amnon.
But I use it. I'm getting used to it more and
EM
more.
It's the
client.
only thing on the market that's recent. It's been
Yeah.
updated.
Right.
EM client. I was using it. I opened it up one day. Everything was gone.
Yeah, I've heard this. Yes.
I never reinstalled it.
That's a feature.
Yeah, that's the Apple feature.
Oh,
of
that's a
things.
cleanup feature.
Yeah.
That's how it saves you. It's considered
Called stress free. It's called stress free. It's a feature
Yeah,
that they
Zen.
provide.
You don't have to decide which files to delete.
No.
Got it. And
The Vipassana feature.
the files for the program itself were there, but the data files, they were all gone off the hard drive.
It uses AI to determine which files of yours you would like to keep.
I don't know, Mike. I mean, I'm wondering, and don't take it the wrong way. I'm wondering if you were doing something that didn't seem to be destructive, and it was. I mean, I've been using it. Kathy's using it. It never happened. So I don't know.
Okay, so when you call Amnon for support, he's one of these guys who say, "Well, I've never had the problem. You must not be having it either."
No, I'm not saying that. I'm
You did
saying
just
I'm
say it.
wondering. I'm just wondering if you clicked on something that told it to clean up or whatever. Because
Apple is the only software that never fails, so it could very well happen.
Well, in the technology field, like a bank will call it a glitch when they let your account be compromised and give everybody your information. It's just a glitch.
No, an oversight.
Yeah, just a clear oversight.
No. It's a glitch when they take away your money, right?
Oh yes.
It's an issue, and you will be sued if you don't give back something due to their glitch. So
you'll be prosecuted. You'll go to
Yeah.
jail.
Mike,
when we're ready to move to a different subject, I have something to bring up.
All right, but Mike, you were saying I can't believe we're sitting here and we in 2018 we don't have other programs. There's a lot of email programs out there.
I said that work well.
I know. I looked and looked and looked when I wanted to move away from EM client, and there's nothing that can touch it.
Well, and I think part of the problem is that younger people aren't using email. That's the reality of the situation. They've got a single Gmail account and they use Gmail on the web, which I would argue is the best experience for email.
I agree now.
So they just, I mean, and plus people don't have freaking computers, Mike. I mean, God, people just have the iPhones. I can't comprehend, but
I mean, if I had it to do all over again, I would use nothing but a Gmail account with a Gmail address.
Yeah.
But now you're talking about being fully vested. Gmail could decide tomorrow they don't want to be in the email business anymore. They do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they never do that. Wrong.
Anybody use Mailbird?
But that's just another version.
Yeah, I tried.
Well, it could be a better version.
No, I tried it.
Yeah.
Nah.
Because it says the reviews are, oh, this is the best Windows 10 email client.
Yeah.
Alternative email client.
It seems like I remember Mailbird does not have rules. It seems like there are a lot of them that have no rule. You can't set up rules to say if a message came in from Spence, put it in this mailbox. That's the rules I'm talking about. I don't remember if Mailbird was one that did not have it, but I tried it and I still get emails from them. So and this. So far, really, EM client, as much as I don't like some of the things about it, it's knock on wood, it's working flawlessly. It was easy for Kathy to use it.
I'll tell you why. It's a somewhat they completely did a rewrite for this version. Whatever version was the 6 or 7 that it's in.
7 is the latest.
The problem you've got with stuff like Thunderbird is its base is a 10-year-old email client, so they're just kind of connecting things together. EM client was completely rewritten from the ground up, starting with 7.
What about Hiri, which is supposed to be a Exchange and Office 365 client alternative?
I've never used that.
What is it?
Hiri, Hiri.
Never heard of it.
It's lifetime 119, annual $39, but they advertise it as an Outlook alternative. It says built for the Microsoft email ecosystem. We support Outlook.com, Hotmail.com, Live.com, MSN.com, Office 365, and Exchange.
Support.
Look, here's the scoop on this thing with this business I'm talking about. The problem would be solved if they got Office 2016 and Office 365, or actually Office 365 comes with Outlook, doesn't it, Nick?
Bingo.
Yeah.
That's why I said it's been growing on me. Every time we
Alright.
get a new employee, it's just there's no product key. It's just
The account gives you the access.
instance an account and
What is it, $5 a month?
12, I think.
12 a month per user?
So
Hmm.
you
That's
got to remember, this is more than just email. This is
Yeah.
this is email. This is all of the
All the
Office
suite, yeah.
desktop products, including Outlook, and then all of the web versions of it, SharePoint, Office, OneDrive, everything.
How big are the mailboxes?
I don't know. Good question. Let me tell you. I can tell you how. Let me look.
Tens of gigas. I don't remember exactly how many. I'll tell you in a sec.
I want to say it's $12 a month.
Because they
So
had
it's
just a mail version for
yeah, they did.
$60 a year.
How much?
Office 365 Professional is $60 a year.
That's $5 a month.
Hmm. I think it depends on which account you're. Because for example, Mike, you're on the $5
for home.
account with
Yeah,
our
$12.50. You're right.
$12.50. Mike's on a $5 account with us, and you don't have access to Word download and stuff like that. You get it
Right.
on the web. And then they've actually got new accounts that we've set up for a couple of interns that are $250 a month. It's called a kiosk account, and it's literally just Office OWA, which is the web
Right.
Outlook and Outlook on mobile, which is
That's-
great if you have an intern, because I mean you can't beat $2.50 a month for email for
Mm-hmm.
dedicated address.
Did we find out how big the mailbox was?
I'm trying to figure out my account right now. Let's see.
50 gigabyte mailbox.
Oh, you're asking for the limit.
Yeah.
Oh.
Email hosting with 50 gigabyte mailbox.
Per
and custom
user?
email domain. Yeah.
Wow.
That's a lot.
And no limit, basically.
All right. So Nick, I'm probably going to get you to set it up for these guys.
Okay.
Get Outlook with it. I mean, they have all sorts of problems, and it's really nothing I'm doing, but it makes me look bad, because when there's a problem and it looks like it's my fault, but it's not. It's that all of a sudden Gmail stops accepting mail forwarded from Time Warner. It's just crazy stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to deal with this next week, which I'm not looking forward to. But originally, when we purchased this, our intention was to use Dynamics, which is Microsoft's CRM for for a CRM. We determined that wasn't the best solution for us, but Microsoft doesn't sell Dynamics directly. You've got to purchase it through one of their authorized resellers, and we did that, and we now determined that we don't want Dynamics, which is fine. We stopped paying for it, but now I need to switch the account from the authorized reseller back to Microsoft, because I have to email these jerks every time I need an email added, and it takes them forever to freaking respond to me. So
I will tell you that we recently negotiated a contract with a Office 365 reseller. It is the second worst contract I have ever negotiated. These guys they're probably good techies. They know nothing about business. They know nothing about the law. They have stupid stuff in their contract. Then you have it also to agree to the second contract with Microsoft, and then a third contract with some provider. I don't even remember who it is. It was over 40 pages of small mice type print to get Office 365 for the business.
interesting.
It's like 3 weeks to negotiate the contract.
Yeah, see, I don't think I don't believe we have a contract.
Sure you do.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Every time you click apply, you sign a contract.
This is true.
Well, my question, if we're okay to change the subject now, is that I don't know if anybody was a user of Crash Plan.
Heard of them?
That's the backup service.
It was a backup.
Yeah.
Well, they morphed. They had a free client that worked very well with local backup. Whether it didn't matter what it was, it could be a peer-to-peer backup. You could have a bunch of friends that you could back up to each other's machines. What I loved about it was the fact that you could back it up easily to any kind of a network attached device, whether it was a NAS or just a shared drive somewhere. And I've got a customer now who Crash Plan changed their financial model. They do have a home version of it now, but it's a fee-based system and it's more like a cloud backup. It does not support the local backup anymore. And I've been looking for alternatives, and I have not been able to find anything that really does what we want. Not concerned about cloud backup. This customer has another application for cloud backup. We're looking for a way to back up to another local drive on the network. That's easy to do. So I like Acronis. I use Acronis here. I use it for backing up my machines. I do image backup, but Acronis doesn't do a good job. You can get it to work across the network, but it's not designed to. You have to do workarounds.
You just want to do a data backup?
File backup. Yeah.
Yeah, file backup. What's the name of the program I use? It works fine. I don't
Total
do it.
copy.
No, it's better than that.
Have you
see.
looked into ResilioSync?
ResilioSync. No, haven't tried
Yeah.
that one yet.
So ResilioSync, it's not a backup app, right? But it's a file synchronization application. And you put it on multiple location. It can also work on mobile if you need that. If you just use the free version, then you can sync entire folders, right? That you set up on all the points, and whenever something changes, it backs up to the other location. If you pay them, which is a one-time payment as far as I recall, what it does, it allows you even to selectively sync. And it also allows file versioning. So you can have multiple versions of whatever changes you made. And all of this is happening internally between your machines. There's no cloud in the middle.
Right.
They do provide a cloud-like service for authentication. So that will allow you to sync your own folder with your cell phone when you're away, right? So they provide this gateway authentication process, but other than that, the communication is encrypted, and the synchronization is supposed to be effective. It's based on the BitTorrent
BitTorrent Sync?
protocol. BitTorrent, it was BitTorrent Sync. It's now ResilioSync. They
Oh,
just
they've
changed
changed
the
the
name.
name of it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
I used that for a
yeah,
little while. It was pretty cool.
yeah. It
I
is.
use
It's a
I
very
use
interesting piece of software.
I
Yeah.
use a program called SyncBack Pro. SYNCBACKPRO.
And you do what with that? Is that how you copy your stuff to your local
If it's
server?
just data files, yes. It's no operating system or anything. It's just if you want to do your My Documents folder to a second drive, you can set it up to do it, and it works fine. It'll do whatever you want.
That's pretty cool.
Brent is saying he's using a program called Second Copy, and
Yeah.
it works great.
Oh
No.
yeah. Well, we use that. I'm not.
I use it, but I don't use it to back up to a remote location. I mean, it's literally
Doesn't have to be a remote
in the
location.
network. No, but I
It has to
mean,
be either a local drive on your machine or a
Mhm.
mapped drive
Yeah.
on your machine.
yeah.
Nick, didn't we determine that it was either carbonite or backblaze would allow you to make the same copy to a second drive that you're making to the cloud?
Was that me? Are you sure? Or was that
I'm asking you. It seems like you and I were looking into it at one point, and I mentioned it to someone here, and they came back and said, "Yep, it works great." And it says also make a copy to this other drive. You
I
might
don't think that was me.
It may be built in.
If the way that I use second copy, which works great, is you can use it to just copy certain things to another drive, and you choose what, or you can take another drive, install Windows on it, because this will not do, obviously, it will not copy Windows over so you can boot from it, but you can make the drive bootable, and then you use second copy to do everything. In essence, that will keep a running current cloned drive on that second the second machine. Second copy will keep on copying all the files that you're changing to the other drive. And
Even system files,
well, you can tell it to. You see, I
paging.
now the point here is that even I don't care if I have Windows 7 that is 2 years old, but I can still boot it. I care about the application.
Right. No, that's fine. I understand.
But I'm assuming that you can tell it, and I don't know. I need to check to see if it's copying the system drive, the system file, and I see no reason why it will not actually do all the updates that way. But I don't know.
I've don't want to distract from this conversation, so pull it back if I am, but is because of some things I've been doing recently, and when I had another problem on my system, what I did, I have a very large USB drive plugged into my main computer, and I decided to leave it plugged in. If I'm getting ready to install something or do something risky that I'm afraid I might screw up my system, all I have to do is throw a CD into the drive on my main computer, reboot into Image for Linux, make an image of my hard drive to that already connected USB drive, and in just a matter of minutes, I've got a perfect backup of my
Mhm.
system. I mean, that sounds trivial, and yeah, like, what's the story here? Well, the story here is leaving that USB drive connected. Well, there's some risk associated with that. If you get a virus, and theoretically, or ransomware could go in and wipe out that drive. But then again, these are only the safety backups. Periodically, I would think you would do another image somewhere else. That really provides a lot of peace of mind to be able to do that. And it doesn't involve climbing on the floor, plugging things in, remembering where the drive is, hoping there's enough space. You just maintain it. Then when you're booted into the system, it shows up in Windows. You can look and see where the drive is, where the images are. If you've got 6 or 7 images on there burning up a lot of space, you look how old the oldest one is. If you're pretty well sure that you don't need it, you can delete it and make more room. It really does make it a lot easier to manage the system.
Does it have to be a local drive or can it be a network drive?
It will Image for Linux will do a network drive, but
Do you have a router that has a USB port built in?
I'm not, no, because I'm having to use the AT&T router.
Oh, well, you could still put that router on your network
Yeah, I mean there are ways
just as a file server.
I could put a NAS or anything on it, but
Yeah.
the ransomware jumps the network anyway. So the only I don't there's no benefit. I mean, it's plugged in right over here, and it's powered off of the USB port. It's just sitting over here on the floor behind the computer, just not bothering anybody.
Yep.
I'm looking at this Resilio. It looks to be the same concept as SyncBack Pro. When they've got a five a member a family five what is it? A 5 family member package, $100 one time. Now, I guess that means for the current version. I don't know how often you're gonna get updates for it, if ever, and you'll have to probably pay, I'm assuming, for major upgrades.
No, actually, no. I think they stated you buy it once, it updates automatically.
That's convenient.
Forever.
Yeah.
Then they'll end up going out of business, so,
Well,
that's
I don't think they're going out of business soon. They're backed up. They're branched out of BitTorrent, the company. They're
I'm saying this
pretty,
looks like an extremely good deal to me.
yeah.
And this might actually be my customer. He doesn't really he wants backup for specific. He's an accountant and wants backup between himself and his assistant automatically. They do use Dropbox for some things too, and they also have a third application for just for accounting software that gets backed up by the. He has a hosting company that hosts his accounting apps for him, the latest versions of Quicken and so on. That he just connects to that and uses the virtual connects in a VPN to their server and uses uh, their apps because sometimes you might have a customer that's still at an older version of Quicken, which he has to load on the fly to open their file. And so he's very happy with that service. I had installed CrashPlan on his machine 2 years ago just as a way of backing up locally. So he has the files right there. Everything else is in the cloud. So,
Well, we've talked here a lot about Backblaze. I really like Backblaze, but price wise, they're comparable for most people to Carbonite. The difference is Carbonite will not back up external drives and Backblaze will. They don't
Yeah.
care what you back up. I don't think it does network drives, but it will do external drives, which that's important as far as I'm concerned. Unfortunately, thanks to Amnon, we discovered that Backblaze does not have telephone support. For people like Amnon, that's critical. They said, "Oh, we
Mhm.
have chat support." Well, let me tell you, Carbonite's telephone support is stellar.
Oh, their tech support chat is stellar too. I got locked out of my account once because I'm an idiot and couldn't remember my password. And I mean, I had the account back in 2 minutes.
Well,
Super quick.
and that may be fine, but I will tell you that some people prefer telephone, and because it's just a personal thing. But I actually
Uh,
messaged with them about it, and they weren't very
I mean, chat
significant in it.
and email, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not 24/7.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. Now, here Alan is saying that Carbonite does do, I guess he's referring to doing external drives. So
No, they
Carbonite
do, but
does
I'm talking
now.
about I was doing a dollar for dollar comparison between the 2. Yes, they do have a more expensive plan that backs
Oh,
up external drives,
Yeah, but
and
it's
it's probably worth it, but
yeah,
Mike,
I think the regular is 60. That one is 120 maybe, and I think it lets you to do 4 computers and external drives or something like that. It's still either way, it's a good deal, but price per price, whatchamacallit's got a much better.
Resilio has a summer coupon, 55% off the family plan. So you can get it for $45.
for which one?
Resilio.
Oh,
So the $99 plan, which looked very good, is now $45.
and you got that how?
I just clicked on order and I opened up, said order details, and it said coupon, apply the summer
Oh,
Resilio 55 coupon for 55% off. It did it automatically in the cart.
wow. Now Alan was saying I hadn't kept up with Chad. He was asking about the ransomware they got. The way they got the ransomware is actually very troubling, and it's actually another issue that I've been having with a computer this past week. And what happened was that computer, their accountant would access that computer with remote desktop. Someone
mm,
hacked into their remote desktop and put ransomware on their machine.
Wow.
yep.
Wow.
And I said, "Well, that's we talk about I've never been hacked. All this hacking stuff is like all this made up crap on Trump and all that, but there really are hackers out there because I have been having an issue with this computer. I access it from the office using remote desktop. A few times lately, I would sit here and reboot the machine, not reboot it. I would sit here and walk away from the machine, come back, and it says your computer is this account on your computer is locked. I forget what the exact error message is. When you do a Google search on and you type in your password, you can't log into the machine. Well, what is this? This is crazy. It's happened probably 4 or 5 times. Well, I then do a Google search trying to find out what the problem is. The answers are all over the board. Oh, I changed this. I refreshed the group policy. I did all this. I did all that. None of that made any sense. Then there was this one that talked about there is a setting as to how many times someone can type a password before the machine locks up. Because of this experience I'd had at this business account, I noticed that remote desktop on Windows 7 had no limit on the number of times you could try a password. It would not lock out by default. I found the setting under group policy. I went in and set it so that if they got 3 failed attempts in 30 minutes, it would lock out the account. I did that a year ago, and I assumed that that's what it was. I went back into group policy, changed it to 3 and 15 minutes, meaning that if it got locked out, I wouldn't have to wait 30 minutes to get back in. I would get back in 15 minutes, which is fine. But that tells me that somebody's trying to hack this computer.
Well, I think it's public knowledge that RDP is very
Yeah.
unsecure. It's unfortunate, but
It is, but what other option do I have? I have not found
It's not
anything that is as fast as remote desktop.
it's not unsecure. The notice for the details, right? The fact that you're using RDP just signals whoever is scanning the network that that port is open, 33896.
Doesn't matter which port it is. These are not on standard ports. They can scan any port for RDP.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, the moment they identify that the protocol is RDP, right? If they have some way of, I mean, all they need to do is just search for the port and then try a handshake, see if that handshake works, then there's an RDP connection. The RDP connection then requests authorization, right? Identification. That's why you're being locked out, probably. The real question is, how did they come up with your username? And that's not necessarily within the traffic that they know that happens.
They may not have the username. It may be getting locked out because they're trying a different username.
No,
Well,
so if what would be locked out would be your user.
That's right. Because if you had multiple users, it will not lock all of them.
Right.
you don't put in a username and
Makes
password to log
sense.
in there. Don't you just put in you click on the user account and then type in a password, right?
No, not
No,
for
no,
RDP. You
Oh,
have
yeah,
a
you
okay.
enter a
separate
username
client.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
I still think the best way to use RDP is to be running a VPN with a different subnet and take it off the quote unquote public internet.
Well, part of the problem I deal with on that is this crappy AT&T router.
Yeah.
I don't have the control I'd like to have. There's some people that came up with ways to make it look like you could use your own router, but it's all a Band-Aid.
Yeah, because you need Mocha and all that stuff for TV. It's a real convoluted thing to get set up.
Can't you set up another router as a different network just for your computers off their router? Like a guest network.
They may have some capability built into the router to create a separate subnet for, say, a guest network.
No, I mean if you wanted to add your own router
No,
to their
no.
uh
I mean, it's
wow.
like you guys are going to lose me in the dust on this one, but there is no true way to put a router on there that it does not end up going through their router.
Oh no, I
Oh,
understand
yeah.
that. Yeah.
But you're tunneling, you can tunnel through your router. You can just use their router as a tunnel outside. I mean,
Let me say it this way, because this is not my expertise. There is no way to put their router in the bridge mode.
Yeah, and nobody's
Make it
talking
act
about
like a
doing that.
modem.
yeah, so you're saying your router will be behind NAT, but
Right.
it's still not a big issue. I mean, it's manageable.
No,
I mean,
it should still work even if you're routing.
Exactly.
You're
Well,
actually doing what Steve Gibson recommends is by
Jesus.
having multiple routers using IP routing, but as an isolation procedure.
And run Windows XP and never use the internet because
That's
if
it.
you don't use the internet, you can't get hacked.
That's right.
My source of information is DSL Reports. They have some very good discussions there. Lots of guys. In fact, there's a guy here in Apex who was actually, from what I can tell, the first guy in the Triangle to have AT&T Gigapower, which he ultimately punted and went back to Time Warner for some reason. He got mad with them because they're throttling it. But anyway, he's a network guru. They ultimately determined, based on conversations with people all over the United States who were other gurus, they ultimately determined that about the only way you could use your own router was by putting it in the DMZ on the AT&T router.
I don't know, and uh, Spence, Gal, tell me if I'm wrong, but the way I look at it, if you take another router and the router from AT&T is giving you 192.168.1 dot whatever, and you set up that second router, yours, to get IP from that router dynamically, but set up the router to give your machines a 192.168.10 dot something, and you set up a certain range. I mean, at that point, that router is just like another machine. Goes to the AT&T router, says, "Hey,
Just
I
another
need an
hop.
IP address." What?
It's just
Yeah.
another hop. Now,
Yeah, right.
you also a lot of new routers. You don't even have to do that, Amnon. It will automatically detect the uh, network it's getting from the internet side and configure the local network accordingly and change. It won't get confused. It'll say, "Oh, I see 1.1. I'll do something else."
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
does that not make sense? I mean, I understand, Mike. I think what you're talking about is replacing your router, just like we're doing with uh
Surfboard.
Time Warner. Change the modem, change the router with AT&T, which yes, you cannot do, but you can add another device that you connect. You creating your own network off of that network.
I'm just telling you what people
Yeah.
smarter
All
than
right.
I are saying.
Yeah. No, but I think what you're missing is what they are saying about what they're talking about replacing the AT&T router with your own router. No,
I
that you
remember
No,
cannot
he
now.
do.
said he was saying that he'd have. They were saying it has to be installed in the DMZ off the AT&T router.
I don't see
Which
why.
I would just try it. Just
Yeah.
I'm
Well,
just telling you, this guy Brian, I now remember why he went back to Time Warner, because he couldn't use his own router. And he tried every way.
But
Now,
yeah.
but did he try to use his own router in place of the
no,
AT&T?
you can't do it. It won't there
No,
you
I'm not talking about doing that.
it won't work. And he wanted to use his own router. He's a
Okay,
network
yeah.
engineer,
Okay.
probably works with Cisco or someone like that, and he told him to take it and stuff it. I
So
don't want to go any deeper into it because I don't know what I'm talking about. But if you want to follow up on it, go to DSL Reports, go to their forum, go to the AT&T Fiber forum, search for a guy named Brian. I can't remember his last name. There's a thread in there on how can I use my own router with AT&T Fiber.
All right. Yeah,
And
you
there's
no.
some really good technical discussion in that very long thread. Maybe I can find it while
Well,
Spence's
I
specials.
tell you what, while you're looking at it, Spence, you ready to do the specials?
Yes.
All right, let's go with that. It's time.
It's time. Oh, well, actually, we're late. Sorry, we missed our
Yeah,
window.
I know it, but it's okay. It's
We missed
important
our window.
discussion.
Sorry, that's it. Next week.
Yeah. All
All
right.
right. So for today, I put together a quick Computers 2K Now Dad's tech gifts. Some recommended things, right?
In case you just forgot, and now you're really screwed because it's 10 o'clock and you got to go get a last minute gift.
That's it. Sorry, I'm done. And I
Hey,
take a look at. I found
what
some
is she doing
interesting
here?
things for the front page here.
What
Hillary
is
saying,
what
I
is
sent you an email to say happy birthday, happy Father's Day, but it was mysteriously deleted. Oh, well.
Pretty good.
Dad, you're the world's greatest dad. You're the world's greatest dad. However, my frame of reference is limited. All right.
All
So
right.
I did give, wherever I found these stories, I did give credit to either who originated the story. And in some cases, I just clicked on Amazon and I went there to show the same product without having to worry about giving credit. But uh, Roku streaming stick has been dramatically improved recently, better processor. I've actually been recommending this to people. Um, it says it's got it at Amazon. Well, they can buy it from Roku for $70, but it's $54 at Amazon. And you may be able to get even better deals than that. Excellent product. If you are a barbecue person or like to do, or your dad likes to barbecue or cook meat, you can get one of these $70 meter, very clever, meter probes for meat that hooks up to your Bluetooth on your phone to monitor the internal temperature of whatever it is you're cooking, whether it's in the oven or on the grill. That's a neat product. It's $69 from Meter, but you could probably get it cheaper somewhere else. Simply Safe. We've talked about them before. One of the first companies to offer true wireless security systems for the home for the consumer setup. This is not something you hire somebody to install. You do it yourself. And having helped several people do it, my daughter's got it. This truly is a great system. Now, the disclaimer on this is that they say $14.95 a month, and that does not include the smart apps like the phone control and so on. You have to pay more for that. But the $14.95 is the monitored system, meaning they have a AT&T or Verizon wireless connection to their hub, which will in fact call your local 911 in the event of an intrusion during however you have the system set up. So $14.95 for monitoring is actually pretty good.
That
Most
is very
companies
good.
monitoring are much more expensive just for monitoring.
Mm-hmm.
Get into some of these other companies and you add the apps, you're talking $50, $60, $70 a month, which is insane. So I think for them, it's in the $40 range. But they do run specials. This is the new system you see here, the new redesigned second generation system. The first generation systems were being sold at a discount through places like Best Buy. So, but check around, you might be able to find a good deal on this. Simply Safe. They do sell it on Amazon. Nanoleaf Aurora. I mean, I just was kind of poking around and found this thing. These are essentially LED configurable light panels that you can turn into any shape you want and mount it anywhere. I don't think you can walk on them, so you can't create your own discotheque. But you can put them on the wall and arrange them. I just show one example picture of how somebody used them on their wall. And they're Wi-Fi controlled. They work with uh, um, different home automation controllers. They will respond to sound. You can create all kinds of ambiance in the room with these. They're uh, configurable for color, intensity, and so on. And you can access it through Alexa, for example. Alexa, turn the dining room wall lighting into make it sunset, whatever. So clever product, $239 at Amazon. All right, Roomba has gotten more intelligent now with Wi-Fi connectivity, so you can actually control it with your phone. And this is the best Roomba out there. This is the one that this is their high end. It's expensive. It's $529, but gives you lots of more and more people using this. My son's got another version of intelligent vacuum that cleans up, even picks up cat food that gets scattered on the floor. Just runs around, does its thing, docks itself, charges, comes back out again. So, and Amnon, I thought of you. You might like this, the Virtual Archer for your smartphone. It's just it is a bow, but it looks like a bow, but does have a string that connects. You put your smartphone in it, and now it shows you an image on the smartphone that you actually shoot at with the bow. So
Okay.
you can do this in your home, no problem, right? It is out of stock though. The only place I could find it was this Prezi box. This might just be a UK thing, but very interesting product. If you have a irrigation system, there are now controllers that you can control with your phone and through Alexa. They've got 8-zone that works with Echo Dot, 16-zone that works with Echo Dot, and a 16-zone controller. All of them will work with your smartphone. I don't know that it works with. I couldn't find details on what smartphones it works with, but they're showing an Apple phone. So 178. I mean, that's truly. I'm not saying it's lazy, but it's definitely for the laid back who
I can
don't
just
want to
see a
have.
situation here when the wife goes out to the yard to get something and you're talking to a
Oops.
friend and you say, I can just tell
Yeah.
Alexa to turn on the sprinkler, and she does it right there.
Well, it could be handy if you're sitting in the yard and you've got the deer in your yard eating your shrubs. You can turn the sprinkler on remotely and watch. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
And for those of you who just have to have a projection of your smartphone on a little tiny projector, for 209, you can get the Cube projector and actually takes the output from your smartphone by USB cable to project. So you can go to an airport and set up and let everybody watch what you're watching on your phone. I'm sure they'll all very much appreciate that with the live speaker going and annoying the crap out of everybody. But that's 209. This next product, the Bluetooth precision cooker, my son has one of these. And you can monitor it with your phone. Works with, like I said, it works with Bluetooth. But if you're a chef and you want to cook your pasta to a certain temperature, you want to cook, having explosions in the background here. If you want to cook soup at a certain temperature, you want to monitor it. You don't want to have to be in the kitchen to turn the stove up and down. This plugs into the wall. It's 110 volt, 120 volt feed to it, but we'll cook on command. It's $100. So, and finally, this is for Nick. This is a bundle that they put together. The Veal Roast Raspberry Pi 3 Retro Arcade Gaming Kit with two classic USB game pads. Only $80 at Amazon. So if you're a do-it-yourselfer, I'm not sure how many games are out there that'll run on Raspberry Pi. I guess they have to be ported over, or there might be an interface.
There's a whole
bunch,
market,
huh? Oh,
a
yeah.
market of these old. I mean, they're originally on these flash components, right?
Yes.
There's a whole slew of these to be downloaded. Not legally, I assume, not paying the rights, but everything exists out there and can be downloaded.
It says one of the accessories for recreating classic Nintendo games. Yep. And it's the kit's got just about everything you need. And it's you're going to have to build it, obviously, but $80 at Amazon. I thought that was pretty cool. All right, well, that's it for some suggestions for tech gifts for Dad on Father's Day, June 2018. What is
17th.
happening? Are we getting? Is there an alien attack going on at your place?
I don't know.
now?
I don't hear anything. Does anybody else hear it?
Oh, I'm hearing it. Golly, you hearing it? You're muted.
Yeah, I'm hearing it, and I have it on video, so I'll send it to you later.
That's
Maybe
weird.
You can see it?
I can hear it.
Oh, okay. Oh, well.
Thanks, Spence.
Interesting. It definitely, it really does remind me of when you used to knock into the amplifier and hit and mess up the echo chamber. Used to have that microphone on it that was hanging on springs.
I'm
getting what
no
it's called.
earthly.
I can't remember. Oh, well.
And it only did it during the specials,
Yes,
or you heard
yes.
it earlier too?
No, it was when you first started the specials and a couple of times during the specials.
And when we heard right at the beginning when you switched on the cue for the show.
Huh.
Yes. I think you have an infestation of something there. There's a rat that's chewing on a cable.
But I don't think the audience hears it. So it's something in our chat, in our internal communication, not on what Amnon is hearing. So
No,
that's
I'm
what's
hearing.
recorded.
I'm hearing the live, not the live stream.
It's not going to the program feed.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Oh yeah, I'd like to see what it sounds like. Here, I'll just move the cables here. They don't. I don't know.
Oh, it's definitely a digital. It's definitely nothing analog.
All right. So Mike, you were going to look into something while we were
He's
doing
not
the
here.
special. Oh, he's not here.
Nope.
Okay. So, what do you guys think about AT&T buying Time Warner? Finally went through.
Who cares? It's all the same crap anyway, right?
And listen to this.
We're gonna get railroaded on this whole thing. It doesn't
Yeah, I
matter.
mean, but we're gonna get railroaded anyway by them
Yeah.
individually. So I guess what the hell's the difference?
Well, so what they're doing, what they already are doing, the company said is we will be launching a very, very skinny bundle of television programming free to the mobile customers. It says we'll be launching, and you're going to hear more about this next week. A product called AT&T Watch TV. The CEO of AT&T said on NBC, it will be the Turner content. It will not have sports. It will be entertainment centered. Unlimited AT&T's unlimited wireless customers will get the service for free, or you can buy it for $15 a month on any platform. The service will be ad supported, and AT&T will be ramping up an advertising platform. So you pay them $15, and they have ads on it. Isn't that great? Um, that the company expects in coming weeks to make smaller acquisitions to enable those efforts. CNBC also reports that Time Warner is changing its name to Warner Media. And Turner Broadcasting CEO John Martin is departing the company. So there are some changes coming, but AT&T finally got the okay to purchase Time Warner Media. Not Time Warner, not the Time Warner we're talking about, because that doesn't exist there anymore. We still say Time Warner, but it's Spectrum.
I loved this when you first said, "Oh, they're going to introduce some type of streaming plan."
Yeah.
And I thought, "Oh, this is going to be fantastic." And then they say, "Oh, it's no sports and it's just all entertainment."
Yeah.
So useless. Exactly the reason that people are
Right.
pirating TV when streaming things illegally. It's
Yep.
just, I mean, this feeds right into this conversation we had a couple weeks ago. Yeah, because I want nothing more than to watch the Real Housewives of wherever the hell on my cell phone on the train instead of something useful like a World Cup match or something like that. So stupid.
Nick, you use laptop. We all use laptops here and there, but
Mhm.
the article here goes: brace yourself for laptops with 128 gigabyte of RAM
Oh, okay.
because they're coming. Lenovo announced its ThinkPad P52, which, along with that massive amount of memory, also features up to 6 terabyte of storage, up to a 4K 15.6-inch display, an 8th generation Intel hexa-core processor, and an NVIDIA Quadro P3200 graphics card. The ThinkPad also includes 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, HDMI 2.0, a mini display port, 3 USB Type A ports, a headphone jack,
Mm.
and an Ethernet port. The company hasn't announced pricing yet. No wonder. But it's likely going to try to compete with Dell's new 128 gigabyte compatible workstation laptops. The Dell workstation laptops in questions are the Precision 7730 and 7530, which are billed as ready for VR mobile workstations. 128 gig of RAM. 640K is going to be enough, right?
Mhm.
Unbelievable. 4K video.
Useless for
Well, yeah, on a 15.6.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I bought a computer, I guess between last week's show off of Facebook Marketplace for work. I got a Dell Optiplex 990 with 8 GB of memory for $150.
Yeah, you bought it for a certain.
Yeah, which is a very uh, it's got a second generation i7 2600 in it. It's a very usable computer
Oh yeah.
for mostly, and I mean, I'm using it in a high use environment, and it's more than suitable. But the key is to have an SSD.
Huh? Um, this is interesting too here for all of us, everybody that's listening. Google announced last week that Chrome will no longer support inline installation of extensions. New extensions lose inline installation starting today, which was last week. Existing extensions would lose the ability in 3 months. And in early December, the inline install API will be removed from the browser with the release of Chrome 7.1. Critics have pointed out such moves make the Chrome Web Store a walled garden, while Google insists pushing users to the store ultimately protects them. Um, this is after how many years? This is the same thing that Apple did in the early days. You know, if you wanted apps, you have to go to the App Store and only from there.
Yeah, but
This
Apple
is,
did it from the start.
yeah.
Mm.
And this is not, we're not talking here just about phones. We're talking about computers.
Yeah,
This is the Chrome browser. This is not just, so it's interesting
yeah.
that they're
Well,
doing
with
that.
with new Firefox out there, I don't see any reason of using for Chrome anymore.
Yeah,
So
I
Really?
know.
Why?
Chrome was novel when it was introduced, and it pushed all of the other browsers to be better, right? But it's definitely not the best choice today.
No,
Why? I'm curious. I've only ever used Chrome. Really? Why should I switch?
Um, First of all, Firefox, which is it's the best contender right now.
Okay.
It wasn't always the case, right?
No, that's true.
But right now, Firefox is fastest, and uh, the only the deal breaker that I see, the reason of using Firefox over anything else right now, is their tab containers.
Mm.
Tab containers is a new concept. Most people won't get it at first until they start using it. But tab containers makes it so that every tab, uh, every container like that is basically a separate browser session completely, like another browser completely open on the side. Not think about in Chrome when you run a tab and then you open private tabs, right? So the private tabs are a separate session that go away after that.
Yeah, incognito.
Yeah, incognito, exactly. So when you're running incognito, nothing in incognito touches anything that's already open in your regular session. So if you logged into Gmail, for example, in incognito, you go to Gmail, it'll ask you to log in again because it's a completely separate session, right? Tab containers takes the same idea, does persist them, so you can still return them there. But then if you're having your work email and your personal email, you can have them both side by side along with another session if that's needed, and they don't touch one another. Now, what's the big deal by not touching one another, right? When you're talking about security, personal security, you're talking about tracking, you're talking about being tracked by Facebook, for example, by Google, by all of these heavily tracking system that they want to know everything about you. You have the option here to segment what they see, literally control what they see, because what you do in your with your email account and where you go from there is not visible to them because you've never logged in. There's no connecting line about what you're doing. And if you go an extra level and add there's something called temporary containers, where every tab you open will be a new container. You're always browsing on a fresh browser. Always. So whoever's attempting to track anything, even by the IP, which is the same for the household, it all looks like a bunch of different people doing different things. So it provides you a cleaner doorstep into the internet, and it allows you to compartmentalize what you're doing, and it allows you also to work better because then you can load multiple accounts, multiple things separately, even for services that don't have multiple account support, right? Gmail does have multiple account support, but if you want to load um, I'm trying to think of a service that I would look at alternative, but Office 365, I don't think it has multiple account support.
Okay.
So you can open multiple windows like that, right? Or if you one of the things I take care of is my son's PlayStation account. Once a month, I go into the PlayStation store and purchase, right, for free all of the free games that they take out every month. But I do that for my son here and for our son in Israel, because he doesn't care too much about the technical aspect of that. He just plays his usually his FIFA, but I make sure that he gets all of the free stuff that is allotted. I just open two tabs, two different containers. I log in at the same time, right? Both of them are logged in, but to different accounts, and I just do all the clicks and I'm done. It doesn't remember that I switched accounts, so I get less of the "Are you a human?" Challenges because it's always a fresh browser. Um, it makes life easier, and I think it's something that most people it flies over their head right now, but it's something that probably should be a key feature now in all browsers. And I do believe that now that Firefox has introduced this concept. By the way, they introduced this concept a long time ago. The implementation was really really flawed, and now the implementation is excellent. I won't say perfect. There's a lot of still a lot of issues, but it's a great solution for privacy, for speed, and Mike, you mentioned you won't trust any open source to be good for critical business missions. In this case, I would say this specific open source project is the best thing for business critical because they are not behind any business,
Right.
right? I mean, true, they get funds. I think most of the funding comes from affiliates and affiliate links and ads and stuff like that. But the drive behind them isn't by a single commercial entity, and that's very important.
I understand all those arguments. I don't disagree with any of them, and certainly some of the open source free software is the best that's out there. I'm just telling you that there's just not the same commitment. The team leader decides, oh, he's going to go do things like spend time with his family. And then another guy says, yeah, you got a good point. We really have spent a lot of time on this. We haven't had 100 people a day telling us how great we are. I've lost interest in it. I've just seen it happen too many times. I mean, commercial applications will do the same thing, but the open source ones seem to evaporate a lot quicker. You look at the number of apps on your phone. If you've had an iPhone, look at the number of apps that are no longer supported. Some of the best ones. I was using an app. Uh, what was the name of the app? It was a barcode scanner. I
Yeah.
forget the name. Oh no, it was a credit card, a reward card manager, and that you could go in, put in your reward card for Lowe's. It would tell it what kind it was. It already had the profile. You put in the number and it would bring up the Lowe's logo, have the card, make it. I mean, it was a very, very nice app. They just stopped doing it.
Mike, but you're not comparing apples to apples. Yes,
I don't like
if you have 100 of these apps and they doing the same thing, they're not all going to go away. Firefox has been here for years and it's going to stay here for years, and it's only one out of what, if we look at all the little one, 10.
No,
and
so first of all, open
It's
source,
different.
right? You need to take open source as a model, right, of software and separate it from open source voluntarily sending out software outside to the world. Those volunteering to write open source software, they might disappear. When it's a small operation, you're totally right? But some solutions, they go into open source as an ethic, as a choice of distribution, right? But they're not there voluntarily. They're making money out of it. They're making money out of the support. They're making money out of some of the distribution. They're making money. They find the ways of making money, but not directly selling the software. And that's not necessarily bad, right? When that works, that's beautiful, because then what you get something that is, I think most of the time in this situation, you get something that is superior to whatever can be achieved in closed in the closed model.
all that's fine, but I'm going to post something right now in chat, a link. And as you look at that link, just mentally substitute the word Firefox for Thunderbird.
Uh,
Well,
I understand. I've never seen Thunderbird as a good alternative, even from the start. It
I
was
like
a
it.
good
I like
effort.
Thunderbird.
No, it's pretty good, right?
It's
But
the best news reader I have ever used.
so
Using
why
it.
yeah,
so
but
why aren't
Gmail blew it out of of being relevant when they introduced their web interface,
I
right?
disagree with that.
Mike, why aren't you using Thunderbird now?
I do use Thunderbird,
Okay.
but it's discontinued. Support
N-
for it is development has been discontinued. They're doing some security updates,
Not
but there's
true.
no major
It is
development
not
effort.
true at all.
Then you need to tell Mozilla that, because what the
We
blog
talked
post says
about
it
it,
is.
and you go to Mozilla and you will see the link that somebody picked it up, and they are behind it, and it's
For how
being,
long?
huh?
For how long?
I don't have a crystal ball,
I
but
don't
the
either.
thing is, people think the Thunderbird is no longer being developed or touched or anything. No, it is. It is still being. I was blown. I said, "What is it still being?" Yes, they were not about to let it go.
I'm
And
telling you what it
another,
says. If you got better information than what's
Well,
here, that's
yeah,
fine.
but
Let's go
Mike,
to
somebody
their
picked
page.
it up. I mean, Mozilla is not doing the updates anymore, but
right? They are
a group of
behind, but
people
they
have
are
picked it up.
behind that company that is doing it, and it's still being worked on because there's so many people that want it. That's
Open
the
source is far from perfect, but there's
right.
some things that are good for it, some things that
I
aren't.
I
agree. I just said that.
I want to take what Gal was just saying and take it another step, because there was a big article that I was reading about why use Firefox versus Chrome, and the main problem was privacy. Privacy from Google, because Google is the one that's getting all that information and they're using it. Firefox is not doing it. And this was a long article, so I never got into
I call BS on that, but
talking. No, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I wouldn't. I mean, they'd be stupid if they weren't using that and taking advantage of that information.
Well, there are. I mean,
Who,
it's not.
Firefox or
No. I'm talking about Chrome
no?
using.
I know. I'm saying Firefox would be stupid if they're not storing that information and taking advantage of it. I mean, that
Mm,
is some of the
What do
most
you think about story?
marketable.
What do you mean about story? Storing what information?
Same thing.
They are
Same thing.
collecting the. First of all, you can opt in or opt out, right? And it's really clear, and that's the first thing that they show you when you install the application. And what you opt into is for diagnostic information about using the software, right? So where people click, what they do is what happens after they click, how long things take to load, stuff like that, like operational information about how the browser reacts in certain situations. No specifics about any identity information. But even that, right? Even that, they don't need more than 2 to 3 weeks back of information. And after that, that's purged. And that's exactly what companies in general are doing today, right? Because the best way to get feedback about software is getting your users to report back when something happens, right? And even better than that is having the software always feedback on what's going on and letting you fix it for the next update in a better way. That's the ideal world, right? But the problem is, you as a person, you don't want to trust whoever is providing you the software, because basically you have no personal knowledge of them. You don't know who they are at the back end. You don't know their motives, right? Firefox are one that until today have proven themselves, right? Being an open source company with very limited filters into what is allowed in, what is allowed out, right? I mean, it is a really, really very active open source community. They have never been breached, right? There's never been an issue of trust being failed with them. And I think that's key of how to run a business that does collect some information for the benefit of improving production, right? But also providing the results without breaking trust. Something most of the companies are, well, once they fail, right, it takes a long time to regain that trust back.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a we've got to separate, because I've got a very similar opinion to Mike on a lot of this stuff, but there's a difference between open source. There's a difference between somebody making something on GitHub and making it open source, and then something like Firefox, which is open source, where there's a company and a structure and employees behind it. Because Mike's absolutely correct. If you go online, there's a whole bunch of open, quote unquote, open source software that people developed that did so and so, and then they just stop development of it because life happens. Whatever, they decide, hey, I'm doing this all for free. Screw you. I don't feel like making your software anymore. But I think it's important to show that there is a difference between, the guy playing around in his basement making open source software and somebody like Mozilla, who is, been, what's Firefox been out, 15 years or something? I mean, who knows?
Oh, they're older than that.
2000.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah. No, I mean, they think before 2000, because 1998.
Well, there you go.
So, 20
I mean,
years.
they're. I'm finding myself using Firefox uh, more and more. It's still hard to cut the cord from Chrome, but I'm sure I will eventually do that. And Gal is right. Chrome is a lot faster.
Firefox.
Chrome or Firefox?
What?
I mean, Firefox is a lot faster.
But
I'm sorry.
look,
See, it's hard to get away from it.
Yeah, hard.
These
Yeah.
are juggled things. I mean, that back in a year ago, we were abandoning Firefox because it's so bloated.
Well,
True.
that was a little bit more than a year ago, but I mean,
2 years ago.
Yeah, it's
Right.
true.
But
These
it
things
all
are stupid.
changed. It all changed only recently, like
When?
4 to 5 months.
4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah.
All right. How long is it going to stay that way?
Well,
It's a race. It's always going to be that way. It's an arm race. Uh, these guys, whoever wants to put an investment in making changes, they changed Firefox completely on the inside, right? And it also pissed off. It pissed off a lot of
a
people.
lot of people, yeah.
Yeah, because the changes that they made was abandoning some old architecture in favor of some newer architecture, which is more popular, like the web extensions, which is basically what Chrome uses for extensions, right? The architecture they incorporated that in, that made things work a lot better in terms of modern developing, making extensions easier and controlling the permissions easier, right? But of course, it pissed off a lot of people who wanted to keep their old way of working with the new speed. So you need to shell off, you need to take off some crap from before. There's no way of doing it without, but it is the better choice now,
The
for sure.
the benefit that we have right now is the fact that we can use both or all
Yeah.
three. It doesn't matter. Mike, we can also say, okay, so today you have a Lexus. What makes you think that next year it's going to be just as good? Next time you buy a car, you may buy a Citroen. I don't know. It's because that at the time that's what they'll say. Now here we don't pay for it, and we have the ability to get it and change back and forth. And for the most part, I don't know anybody that will will install a new browser and not be able to use it right away. Yes, it may not be exactly the same, and it's when you're used to something, you want it to be the same as my age, especially. I
Yeah, I
mean,
know.
young people get used to, oh yeah, oh, it's something new, something. It's fine. You're going to say, Mike?
Talking about a new browser, I remember I was using IE to load on my second monitor
Mm-hmm.
so that I could watch the show, but then none of the streams will work because they're
Right.
flash and
And you
all
know
that.
what? And that's what I like about Firefox too. Firefox comes up and asks you.
Right. But I don't want to put Firefox on my second monitor because if I get to work and log in with RDP and I need to access it, I can't get to it.
Okay, I mean there
But
are situations. I'm
hang
not.
on.
Yeah,
So that's why I have it Vivaldi installed.
yeah,
And as before, now when I install Vivaldi,
yeah.
I have to open it. I don't mean install it. When I open it, I have to wait about 3 minutes before I can do anything with it, and then it works fine.
You see,
Yeah.
I use it all the time, and I don't know why you have to wait so long.
Because well, I
I
don't either.
really don't know. I don't
Who
know.
can I call about that, Amnon?
Nobody.
Where can I get my refund?
Who do you call? Who do you call about Chrome?
Nobody. I'm
Who do
not
you call
defending
about
Chrome.
Firefox?
I'm not defending Chrome. I don't like Google
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
I
It's
wish I had
I.
never had to switch away from Firefox.
This is one of the things where all of us, the users, are lucky. There is a
Lucky.
piece of program that we use, and there are two or three other similar ones, and they look and they say, okay, this one is becoming really popular. What are they doing? The next one is going to be even better than what that de facto standard is, because they're going to say, okay, you know what? Let's give the user this, and let's give him this, and let's give him this. And now it makes it better. So we jump and we use that one. Whether or not it'll stay like that, we can't tell. There's no, like I said, nobody has a crystal ball that will be able to tell you. But this is what today. Use it. If today it's sunny, you go outside and you enjoy the weather. You don't say, yeah, but tomorrow is going to be cloudy, so forget it. I'm going to stay inside so I don't get used to this. No, you use it. You take advantage of what's today the thing is.
Not disagreeing with any of that,
No, I
Amnon.
am.
I'm just telling you that the experience between power users and non-power users is dramatically different.
Oh yeah,
I consider
I
myself to
agree.
be a power user. Whenever if you look at my Case in point is if somebody in the family sits down at my computer to start using Chrome, they start looking around. Wow, look at all these tabs. What do these buttons do? All I want to do is go to a website. And that's because it's highly customized.
Yeah.
It's not a trivial task to say, okay, heck with Chrome. I'm going to start using Firefox. Now I've got to move everything over and reorganize it and all that. And it's a royal pain. And then the next year, people say, oh, we got to get rid of Firefox. It's too bloated. It was
Well,
great. I'm not disagreeing. Look, it may be the best one out there now. I'm not disagreeing with anything you guys are saying. There's no argument here.
no.
What I'm saying is that the concept is not particularly attractive to me. I would rather, well, I can get into all that, but all I'm saying is that I don't like some of the issues that occur with open source software that seem to happen more often than they do with, or community supported or whatever Firefox may be. It just seems that the commercial companies have a better interest in keeping them going for longer periods of time.
Only
But
the successful
Well,
ones.
that was sure, absolutely right.
The same goes
Absolutely
for
right.
open source. It's only the successful ones that really survive. So,
And some of the best ones are not the most successful ones. It's frustrating.
but
I refer you back to apps on your phone. Some of the best apps I have, and I'm not a big app user, some of the best ones I've ever used, all of a sudden they just vanish. Nope, not used anymore. You need to take this off your phone. It's not secure. Go back and look, and it hadn't been updated since 2016.
Mike,
yeah.
let me also remind you that everything we're doing right this second and everything that you do every day on the internet is based on open source software.
But I'm like Red Hat, though. I'm value added. If anybody watches me or sees me or takes any emails from me, I send them a bill because I provide added value to the free stuff.
Well, it's you don't see a lot of servers on the internet. I mean, if you're looking at the big picture, running Red Hat or any of the paid uh Unix operating system, and Unix is and Linux is by far. I mean, it's there's no even there's you can compare number of Windows servers, web servers that are running out there. They're doing on the internet
So what's your
to
point?
Linux. Linux is
Even Microsoft is
right.
shifting to Linux on their Azure's
Their own
infrastructure.
right.
Yeah.
This is open source. This is community supported. You get response to problems a lot faster than you would get on, second Tuesday updates. You get it right away because there are people all over that are part of that effort. And they come up, they're doing it because they like to. And sure, some drop, new ones come in. It's an evolving thing, but it's open source. It's community. Nobody gets paid. You say, how? Because people like to do that. And we depend on it every minute that we are on the internet. Without it, the internet will not be the same thing. When I started the Internet Center, there were free Unix versions, but we chose to go with, I can't remember the name of it. It was some kind of Unix that we actually paid for. I can't remember it, but it's because it had support. And then when Ron joined us and he said, "What are you guys doing?" And found out, oh yeah, there is support all over the place for the free ones. Oh, never mind then. So it's the word open source always scared me. That's why when I was running a bulletin board, I did not like something that the source code is available out there to people. Because you say, okay, if it's available to people, if they can just download it, they can look and see how to break it. If something is just an exe and that's what you're buying, and there's no way to modify it, it's safer. This is, I was young. You think that way, but obviously there's more to it. Open source is the way it's going to go. And look, Microsoft is getting into open source. They're trying to, and they keep on trying to get into it and set a foot so people will talk about them in conjunction with open source. It's not doing them any good yet because people are not seeing them as such, but they are into it.
So are they going to be the next Red Hat?
Well, I don't know. I mean, Red Hat did very well.
Yeah,
They're still gonna sell their OS for money. That's not gonna change probably. But PowerShell, one of the driving forces there, is now open source completely. The next version, it's not installed yet out of the box inside the OS, but that's probably what's going to happen at the end. And I mean the purchase of GitHub, right? That's clearly a move there.
Who bought GitHub?
It's interesting. They bought it.
Who did?
Microsoft.
Oh, there that goes.
I mean, here talking about Microsoft and things that disappear. Listen to this. Microsoft has announced that starting next month, it will no longer be participating in the technical support forums for Windows 7, 8.1, 8.1 RT, and numerous other products. On the software front, the company says it will no longer provide support for Microsoft Security Essentials, Internet Explorer 10, Office 2010 and 2013 as of July. It is not just software that is affected. Microsoft also stopping support for Surface Pro, Surface Pro 2, Surface RT, Surface 2, Microsoft Band, and sorry to say that, guys, but Zune.
Oh my God!
What company?
No, coming to an end.
What
you
company?
see, and listen to this worst thing. Some forums will be locked, preventing user from helping each other as well. Why?
Because Microsoft's a bunch of scumbags.
Yeah, let me
how
tell
long
you.
has it? How long has the Surface Pro been out?
Probably 5 years or so.
Is it really that long?
I think so.
It's amazing. You know?
Let me tell you this, as one who goes through these forums looking for help, I would say that the Microsoft forums are one of the last ones that I click on.
Yeah,
because these official Microsoft people, you ask a question, why is IE locking up when I click on allow flash? Their response, thank you for joining the Microsoft forum. We really appreciate you being here and want to make sure that you have a positive experience using all Windows products. Microsoft really cares about having you as a customer. Thank you for coming here. As we understand it, you want to know why when you click on a link in Internet Explorer, the computer for Flash, the computer crashes. Now reinstall Windows and post back here and let us know if the problem happens again.
Or they'll say, please see the following article in reference to this problem. And you go to the article, it has nothing to do with
absolutely unrelated. And people come in there and say, why do you post this crap?
Well,
so good riddance.
But the point here is that here's the commercial company, and yes, Windows, and they're going to stop participating in there. They didn't do good to begin with, but why lock forums so people could not help each other?
They're trying to manipulate you. They want you to use the newer product, and they think that'll have an impact.
Well,
I still predict, and we're running out of time here, but I still predict, maybe naively, but I still predict that these strong arm tactics used by Time Warner and all these TV companies to try to force you to pay them big, ridiculous amounts of money for cable and those sorts of things are going to backfire on them.
Oh, absolutely.
I honestly believe that once the cord, I had a friend of mine this past week who was asking about cord cutting, and this guy's a millionaire, but he's saying, I don't like paying all this money for no more channels than I watch on TV. And I told him to call Nick. Nick understands the concept. So
who's calling me?
No, you won't know yet. And and you have to agree with me. Who the heck wants to pay $165 a month to watch TV and be on the internet when you watch 2 channels?
Yeah, true.
I have to believe that one day it's gonna backfire on. My point being that if and when it does, it will be very difficult, if not impossible, for these services to get those customers back.
So
Well,
their plan then is to raise the price on the existing customers who stay
yeah,
because they want to maintain their revenue stream.
right. Exactly.
For
And
as long as possible,
Yep.
they're doing it.
like the drug companies.
Yeah. And I mean, what a perfect segue here. But this is interesting. It's finally happening. Next year, people around the world will spend more time online than they do watching TV. According to new data from measurement company Zenith, in 2019, people are expected to spend, and it's not much different, an average of 170.6 minutes each day on online activities like watching videos on YouTube, sharing photos, Facebook, shopping. They'll spend slightly less time, 170.3 minutes, watching TV. The global transition from TV to internet as a main entertainment medium was a long time coming, but it also happened faster than expected. Last year, Zenith predicted that TV would still be more popular in 2019, but has since revised its estimates. So it's happening faster. I mean, it seems like, 3 minutes, or 3 seconds,
Amnon,
whatever.
Amnon,
Yeah.
here's my point, and then we wind it up. Do you know what resonance is?
Yeah.
What is it?
I can't explain it.
Okay. When something there's one of the best ways of seeing it is that there's a video on YouTube about this harmonic resonance for a bridge out in California.
Oh, yeah.
Back, you
Saw
remember
that.
that? This
Saw
what
that.
are they
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
bridge sits there wavering till it
Right.
finally falls.
Right.
And what happened was because of the way the bridge was designed, it had a resonant frequency that was reached by the wind blowing across it and vibrating it. What
Mhm.
happens when something is in resonance, it has this major peak in energy development.
Mhm.
It is where everything aligns perfectly in the universe, and these things exhibit extreme amounts of energy.
Mhm.
Well, that's the same concept that Malcolm Gladwell used when he talked about the tipping point. When things reach, quote, the tipping point, they explode. There's this great big spike in whatever the parameter is that you're measuring. And what I'm saying is that at some point, I mean, it happens. It happened with YouTube. It happened with Facebook. At some point, boom, they just shot way up in usability, and it was done. So, having said that, I'm just saying that when the cord cutting, when it reaches its tipping point, it's going to be all she wrote for these guys. Now, are they crafty enough to come up with alternate things to screw us? Of course they are. They've got the financial motivation to do so. But I really think that they're playing with fire. But having said all that, I'm going to post a link here to a show that I detest ABC. I hate watching things on network television because they're so biased. But having said that, there is a show that I watched yesterday that I would like to recommend. It's on YouTube, so you don't even have to go to ABC, and just got the commercials cut out. And it talks about digital addiction. And these kids can poo poo it all they want to. They can say, oh, you guys need to get with it, or you're just being old fashioned. But this is one of the first reports I've seen of the issue where they actually have some scientific validation to the extent that it's not made up. But they have some scientific validation to the positions that they're taking. I don't believe everything in this, but these brain scans that they do, I think they have some credibility.
Well, I mean, there must be. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So you know
No,
that
maybe,
this is
maybe not. I don't. I
no,
don't trust. I do not trust the networks under any
no. I'm not saying
theory at
trust,
all.
but you take this and you apply it to what you see on daily basis, and what you hear from people, and you say no, no, oh yes.
Even if you don't believe what you see, at least you get to see the way other people
Yeah.
look at you if you're one of these addicts.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I hope you guys will watch it, and if you do, we'll talk about it in the
And
next
by
one.
the way, don't worry about uh you talking about how people see you. I read an article about this woman saying, when I stand in front of the mirror and I look at myself, I don't see any imperfections. But if I put my glasses on, I see all these wrinkles and things. Is this how people see me? And the answer was, no, don't worry about it. When you in front of the mirror, it's like 2 feet away. Nobody's going to stand that close to you, so they're not going to see it. It's at
Yeah.
the minimum, minimum of 4 feet when they do it. But anyway,
That's called
this,
self-deception because it's 2 feet to the mirror and 2 feet back.
yeah. But no, I mean it's going to hurt those people. I agree with you 100%, Mike. All
Alan, watch
these
that video if you
providers.
get a chance.
And one of the articles this year, one of the stories that I was reading said that Netflix need to become their own ISP, that they need to run their own,
No doubt. Are they
the-
not?
I don't know, but they were saying this is one of the
No.
things that they need to do.
I'm glad you brought up Netflix. These guys are bent and determined to destroy themselves. Absolutely bent and determined to destroy themselves. Two
But they
things.
have the best of intentions.
Yeah, two things they've done. They've cut a deal with Barack and Michelle Obama, which has caused a lot of people to cancel their subscriptions, number one. Number two, they've just instituted a new policy for their employees. You cannot look at another employee for more than 5 seconds. Doing so is sexual harassment.
Oh, come on.
Look it up. Don't take my word for it.
Amnon, this is the mindset. These are people that they
Jeez.
just sit around and try to think of things to try to be offended by.
Now I have a question. What if somebody in the company is putting on a PowerPoint presentation? Do you have to look down the whole time? I mean, this is insane.
It
One of
is
the things they
insane.
train you to do when you present is to go around and make eye contact with everybody in the room.
It's out the window
Pick
now.
certain people and look at them and watch their reactions so you can react to the room. Yeah, get it. This is creating social misfits.
Ridiculous.
Watch that link I posted at YouTube thing with that digital addiction. To me, it's worth the time spent.
Well, I got to go. I have to go downstairs and log into my devices.
Yeah, your phone is calling you.
I have the warning going off in my implant in my head.
Yeah. All right,
All
guys.
right.
Happy Father's Day, everyone.
Anything
happy
else
Father's
that
Day.
anybody wants to add? Going once? Going twice?
Okay, I got one other thing.
All right.
Did I complain about Bojangles last time I was here? No, I wasn't here last week.
No.
I had 3 bad experiences in a row in Bojangles, so I went into this is tech, went on Twitter and complained about them. And to their credit, they've reached out to me. They've asked me for more details. They've claimed they're going to solve the problem, and so far they've sent me $75 worth of free coupons.
What?
Yeah, but you can't eat there because the experience is bad. So you hopefully
Absolutely. I told them, they said, we want to send you a free coupon. You know what I told them? I said, well, that's not why I made the complaint. And if the service is going to be like it's been before, I don't even want the free coupon.
I do not use those coupons. If you use those coupons, then
all right. I just throw them in the trash.
You should throw them away. This
I did.
sucks. Good. That's a good.
I did.
Why do they give you different food? They have special food in the back just for coupons.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't use those coupons.
Just don't show it before you order your food.
Oh boy. All right.
$75 worth.
Nice.
Unfortunately, it's going to get thrown away.
Well, I'm passing them around.
Okay. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks. Spence, Mike, Gal, Nick. Are you going back to paint some more today, Nick?
Yep, that's the plan.
Okay.
Get yourself a big Wagner power painter at Lowe's. Just load that sucker up with paint and paint everything.
It's a good
I'm getting
solution.
ready to
Glass,
go buy-
doorknobs, hinges, pictures on the wall. Just paint them all.
I'm getting ready to go buy a Makita impact driver.
One of the best
All right.
tools out there for building it, putting anything together. An impact driver.
Yep.
revolutionize the way things work.
So, good
Home
morning.
Improvement 2K now.
Good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive. Update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9. But you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Nick doing a show tonight?
I believe so.
All right. So tonight at 7, Nick Craig hosts Against the Norm on Wilmington's Big Talker 106.7 FM. But you can listen to it anywhere else on TuneIn. See you, everybody.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.